So Adir
Alright
activates
then.
Defender. I hope I've come to the right place.
I shall be discreet.
Have I been here already?
You might find this interesting.
Margrin's fire casts light in dark places.
I guess I found him. Like 75%. Oops, dominate. I have no idea who's best to dominate. Oh, my antelope is stunned.
I? Indeed.
Why am I attacking? I don't even know. Oh no, taking damage.
Not.
Following your lead. Mow it. Brave down.
Oh, why are you taking so much damage?
Following your lead. stands. What? Brave thou be not believe.
Nice.
Leave it to me.
There's no one attacking. Oh, he's feigning death.
Of course.
Oh. There we go.
Hey,
What's this? The wind's arm? Allergena should have that. Let's go for the other bounty. Alright. Where's our next bounty?
I'm ready.
Aggressive healing. Pretty cool. Where's the other bounty? What have I gotten myself into? This is good for now. Whoa, what the heck is that? And back. First that guy down. Oops. Now cast Confusion. Oh. Expose vulnerabilities. No, not my pet.
And rough. Moed Ixi honor.
There we go. Victory. Good mother's head.
All right then.
And still what?
Adair, how is it you Eothasians stay so optimistic? The world has not given your kind much reason to hope.
You get to a certain point and you realize you got two options. You can go mad with grief and tear out all your hair and check yourself into the sanitarium, or you can wait for better days.
Well, feathers in my case. But I understand your point.
That's sweet. Looking for work? I know we've got plenty to do around here. The Redwater Lago Faith won't trouble anyone anymore. I'll tell our farmers they can sleep soundly. Here's the reward as promised. Brynload has been taken care of. I'll be damned. I didn't think you had it in you. I'll let the Fangs know. Here's the reward as promised. Taxes are collected again. Alright, now it's time to actually go back to the Twin Elms. What's the other quest? Songs of the Wild. I want to find these birds. I changed my mind. Let's wait. Let's put the burial island on hold for a while. Now let's go find ourselves a bird.
Keeping an eye out.
This bird constantly hides its head under its long wings. Their light blue feathers mottled by stripes of gray and white. Despite the reclusive nature of the species, this cloud singer bursts into elaborate songs when nudged. Oh, here's another one.
You're not getting through me. Hey. Hey.
Over a ground hardened by dry blood and stomped leaves, the corpse of a giant Stelgear crawls with flies. Its flesh has been pierced and cut, as if stabbed by spears and slashed by swords. You touch the dead Stelgear's flank. A cloud of flies stirs into the air, and suddenly you feel the creature's remaining essence. The world around fades away. The pack rests, rocks shelter the young, full bellies. You turn away and look beyond the trees. The moon breaks over their swaying canopy. A scent in the air stirs a tingling in your mouth. You slide into the shadows, the taste of hunt filling your nostrils. Light shines on the stones by the water that falls. Way down below, two-legged, hair like dry grass. It moves near the water that flows. Thin legs, slow, noisy, unaware. It holds a sharp stick. Two-legged hunter, weak hunter, prey. Closer, prey. Bright moon, prey. Into the dark. Pain on your side. The sharp stick pokes out of your flank. You roar and shake it. It snaps, breaking on the stones. Wet stones, your blood. Leaves rustle, you look. Another two-legged, another hunter. Thick legs, silent steps, striped face. Strong hunter, enemy. You leap, aiming at its neck. It moves fast. Your claws find flesh, ripping it deep, ripping it down. Wet leaves, two-legged blood. It howls, it fights back. Long claws cut through the air. They slash at your flesh, more pain, sharp pain. You strike, it strikes. Hot blood on your claws, hot cuts on your chest. The world goes red. Your strength fails, you can't breathe. The two-legged hunter looks down. Wet ground, hard blood. Sharp stick above its head. Bright moon above its head. Strong hunter. The world goes dark. Oh, what the heck? Why is there so many of them?
Hey. Leave it to me. That's it.
What brings you here? What brings you here?
I don't like that outcome, so I'm just gonna save Scum.
All right, then.
Oh, what the heck? I guess I haven't explored this cave yet. No, I have. Get me out of here. Oh, I'm back here again. large Adra structures. There isn't one here, I don't think. Oops, nope. Is there a large Adra structure here? Nope. I want to cheat and look up where the birds are.
Estremor.
The lamb sent me to collect rare songbirds. She stares at you blankly for a moment before shaking her head. That fop the lamb sent you? No, absolutely not. Eating my beloved pet won't grant that full musical prowess. The only thing you'll get is an upset stomach and the pain of passing a beak. She folds her arms and frowns. There's a forest full of birds. Mine's not for sale. Why would Delim believe that eating birds will help? Old folklore gone awry, she mutters, shrugging in resignation. Orlins, particularly those raised in the forest, still seem to believe that by eating noteworthy creatures, they can gain the desirable traits of their prey. It's false. Eating a spider doesn't give you 8 legs any more than eating ivy lets you sprout berries. Lancy sighs with resignation. If the lamb wants to be a better singer, he should try practice, not superstition. I agree, killing your birds seems unnecessary. I will look elsewhere. Her face turns flushed as she smiles. I'm relieved you see it my way. How would you like it if someone demanded your cherished pet as a snack? Oh. Short-winged songbird, interlocked and concave, the iridescent green feathers of this bird resemble crystalline scales. When startled, it completely freezes on the spot, only to resume its slow singing once it feels safe again. Oops. Loot the bird. Am I even in the right place? Yep.
Builder's wisdom to you.
Greetings, friend. How goes the bird hunt? I spoke with Lenzi. She said eating songbirds is just a superstition. It won't help you sing. Nonsense, the lamb shakes his head in disbelief. I know a man who swears by the practice. This has been part of how master chanters refine their craft for ages. Surely a wise woman such as herself would be familiar with the folklore and know that I speak of time honored truths. Let me ask you this, do sparrowhawks sing well? Well, they can shriek loudly, but I wouldn't call it melodic, and yet their favorite meal is a songbird, so if your belief is correct, you're saying I should consume a sparrowhawk. Oh wait, oh I see. The lamb frowns, his posture slackens, but maybe the sparrowhawk doesn't have a soul and that's why. He shrugs, his face blushing. You're right, this is silly. I'm just desperate for creative passion and I'm walking the wrong path to find it. Thank you, my friend. I don't need rare songbirds. I just need to find some inspiration from within. He bows to you with a pained smile. If you'll pardon me, I should stop delaying and write a new song. I look forward to it.
Do you still have family living in the Deerwood, Adair?
No, not these days. Parents left the country years back during the purges. I think about him a lot.
It's a shame you and your family suffered, even after the Saints' War ended. You Deerwoodans certainly have a knack for holding on to old grudges.
Builder's wisdom to you.
Oh, that's spooky. Orval greets you with the same quiet smile. Have you finished your business here? Farewell.
I have trod more secret and sacred places in your company than I could have imagined.
Do you remember when we were children, and the missionaries came to tell us about the gods? They told us we could see them in the stars. I remember when I heard that, I snuck out at night and climbed the watchtower in the old fort because I wanted to see them better. That fort burned down a few years ago when we cast the missionaries out. It was the missionaries who set fire to it. They didn't want us to be able to use it. Shame. There was history in that fort.
They'll do a lot worse if they ever returned. Those missionaries are all inquisitors now. Don't you think they're the same people underneath? But I suppose you wouldn't know. He looks at you. This is your home as much as it is mine. Do you worry about it? Our being here puts Kretum at risk. I wish I could say I thought otherwise, but hearing someone else say it helps settle some things in my mind. I
miscalculated many things since this began. I'm relieved you weren't one of them. It's a good thing we didn't hang you.
He looks off.
I always knew this path would have consequences, but I never wanted to see Kretum suffer on my behalf. I don't think I can stay here any longer. I am told the Inquisition is gathering an army, that they have sent messengers to bargain with rulers from distant lands. Kretum is not built to withstand a siege. If war is coming, I should be doing what Theos is doing. I will need allies. Allies in a stronghold that can resist an invading army.
You can feel words formed long ago rising in your throat like a toxic black pile. Have you thought about Oceanus?
Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders, and their king has no love of the Inquisition's faith. I wonder, would he listen?
Keeping an eye out.
Let's not go
Alright,
that
then.
way. Oh, why are those spirits entering me?
Brave thou Philos Nili- Hello? Hello?
Oh, what the heck?
Oh.
All right then.
Yeah.
Of course.
Brave thou
Last blade of the White Forge? Really?
Hey,
Brave thou Philos Nili-
hey.
Let's go! Let's go!
Leave it to me. All right then.
Nice and slow. Steady does it.
The spirits or wisps will enter my player character. Oh gosh, what is happening?
Brave Dal'Thilakili. Let's go.
Let's lock this ghost throne.
Be more careful.
That was terrifying.
Brave Dal'Thilakili.
That seems to have done nothing. I'm sad.
Hey, leave it to me.
Brave Dal'Thilakili. Brave Dal'Thilakili.
You're not getting through me. Leave it to me. Hey,
You venture through a doorway into an underground tunnel. The staircase coils upwards, leading to a dim passage. On the upper level, light filters through the collapsed ceiling. A wall of piled stones and rubble blocks the way ahead. Examine the pile of rubble. To the observant eye, the mass looks dangerously unstable. The rocks appear to have held together through sheer chance. Moving even one could send the rest tumbling. Pull the rubble loose. Leave the rubble alone. Fill the rubble with a pry bar. You wedge your pry bar against a large stone and put all your weight into it. Your efforts dislodge the boulder, and it rolls free with a heavy groan. Other slabs and chunks of debris begin to break away. The massive pile creaks and rumbles, threatening to loose 1,000 pounds of stone around you. As the debris tumbles down, you lunge through the narrowing gap. However, Aloth isn't fast enough and disappears behind the falling rocks. Aloth emerges from a cloud of dust, hunched over and cradling tender ribs. Light breaks into the tunnel up ahead, growing brighter as you continue. Soon the passage ends, opening up high on the cliffside of the burial isle. Or Aloth.
Hey,
Are you kidding me?
Another turn, Inquisitor.
Theos signals some unseen attendant standing beside a large crank.
I ask again, Jovara Ixensios, do you confess to these heresies of which you stand accused?
He waits, but Iova only stares straight ahead, her face stony. The creak of her restrains the only sound.
Do you confess to apostasy?
I confess to renouncing a mistake.
She opens her mouth to speak, strands of thin spittle spanning from one lip to the other like a spider's threads.
Do you confess to conspiracy against the one true faith?
I confess to opening minds.
Do you confess to false prophecy?
I confess to following a false prophet.
Indeed. And where might we find this heretic?
He wears the robes of a Grand Inquisitor.
You have no followers here, heretic. Your lies hold no sway in the court of the penitents.
Only my truth, then.
Another turn.
No! Wait! I'm ready.
You are ready to give a confession?
I am ready to hear one from you.
Theos shakes his head and points at the Inquisitor. The scraping grind of rusted gears echoes in your mind as the apparitions fade away. Oh, this is so sad.
No time to lose nerve now, Watcher. What's one more trial for a soul on the brink of doom?
A great pit lies in the shadow of the statue of Boudica. No light from the surface reaches the bottom, but even so, you catch flickers of a ghostly glow in the depths. The wind from the pit buffets you. It isn't cold, but it raises goose flesh along your arms. The wind carries a whisper, low and sibilant. As you look into the pit, souls gather around you. They encase you in a cloud of essence that swirls around your body while you consider your next move. Jump into the pit. You jump, trusting in the promises of the gods and the powers of the souls to bear you safely down. The sudden drop takes your breath away, but the souls catch you, encasing you in a shining, thrumming aura. But while they slow your descent, you can still feel that you are falling faster than you should. The essence flowing around you is strong but chaotic. You find yourself drifting toward the wall. Mind the wall, Blaze Char. That would leave all kinds of marks. Take control of the souls to guide yourself to safety. Flip, directing yourself back to the center of the pit. You steer yourself to the safety of open space. You manage to spread your arms and legs into an X, steadying your position at the rate of your descent. You start to feel more comfortable until you notice that Aloth is still falling too fast. Aloth plummets, feeling and out of control. You could attempt a rescue, but the ground is approaching fast. It will take a feat of speed and agility to avoid injury. Die for your companion. The ground is rising fast, and you're not quite fast enough. You snatch Aloth out of freefall, but you're unable to regain control of your own momentum in time. You take the brunt of the impact, landing hard against the millennia-old stones of the Court of the Sentience. Oh, there's an Act 4. Standard.
After what seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star alone in the cosmos and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead. After what seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail.
Enter Sun and
That went
Shadow.
better than I expected. Everyone all right? No shattered knees? Good. Just me then.
That was bracing. I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
Hey.
What do you suppose that bally thing is?
Oh shoot.
Hey.
Brave. Does feel on.
Hey. Hey.
Let's
Let's see what lies this way. Brave Dalfila.
Leave it to me! Leave it to me!
Be cautious. Be constant.
You're not getting through me. Hey. Of course. Hey.
Nice and quiet. I wonder what this is.
Hey.
I went to Hunter's Mark, the big one.
Deal with this one.
There's a lesson to be.
That's it.
Nice one, Idir.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Of course.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, it's not actually booby trapped.
The work of a moment.
Hey.
A column of Adra rises above you, stoic and silent, its ridged layers a measuring stick for the passing of ages. It feels to you as a thick block of ice, and you perceive buried deep in its core a dim, flickered flame, all but extinguished, yet persevered against the ravages of the elements. At your approach, the flame seems to steady and draw strength. and the layers separating it from you melt away, and you are bathed in its glow, a bright beacon in the gloom. The glow seems to fade, as though you had just adjusted to its intensity, and where it was, Eovora seeps into existence, an idyllic shade hovering above the moist prison floor. Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you now, a slight stoop to her carriage, perhaps, or a trace of sunkenness in her eyes. There's a broad scar across her face, fibrous and wormy where flames once lapped, unhealed even in death.
So my love returns to me at long last. You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought you here?
I'm here to free you.
A gallant gesture, if a bit misguided. And yet I suspect there is more to this than you have said. I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice.
Theos diverted them from the cycle. He seeks to empower Wodaka, and to blame Animancy for the damage he's caused.
After all this time, he would still stand against the tide.
You knew me when Theos did. There's something I need to know about that time.
I will tell you what I remember.
There's something about that lifetime my soul can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time. I see moments from that life, of you, of the Inquisition, of Theos.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also. It was just after the trial. You were agitated. I think because you started to consider that what I was teaching may have been true.
And what was that? Eovora's mouth tightens and her brow furrows a look of pity. Her eyes shift back and forth between each of yours, as if looking for something that would help her decide whether to speak.
That the gods aren't real.
Alagina throws her head back and laughs gleefully. Ha 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 ha. Of course not. It all makes sense now.
I'd dreaded the idea from the moment the Delimgon suggested it. And yet, it almost feels like a relief. She's not serious.
Perhaps not to her. Many are those whom the gods have scorned. This is petty retribution.
There's a theory puts my boldest to shame. But we ourselves have seen the gods' influence.
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people.
How did you discover this?
The Anguithan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them, and in the end, they allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices carried. I heard enough. I investigated the things they spoke of, and everything was there, just as they said it'd be.
Later on, after I left the order, a few Inquithans found my words persuasive and joined my cause. They revealed what I did not already know. Who created these gods, and for what?
They were conceived by Engwith, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Theos' people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Anguithans sought an end to it. They devoted all their energy to finding the true creators. Generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets. One day, They found an answer. Except the answer was no answer at all. There were no gods to be found. Or if there ever were, they were gone. It shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence? But they had mastered many things in their pursuit of these answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void, and sent missionaries to the corners of the world to spread their faith.
This is why you started your own faith?
I never thought of it as faith, but I think you are right to call it that. Let the world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others. For a time, the truth sent me to a dark place. Then the day came when I realized nothing had changed, that I still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for. I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks. In time, their following became mine.
Is it true what you taught?
You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself, as you once did. Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. And in avoiding the question, they deny themselves an identity of their own.
Eovora scans her audience in silence, her eyes thoughtful, lingering on each member of your company, in turn finding interest in things unseen.
What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
But that's not... That can't be right. Aethys, he's done miracles for people.
The power of the gods is undeniable. The truth of the story they weave is not. What if it were forbidden knowledge rather than fault that earned your doom? What of your guilt?
I have seen with my own eyes the deceptions of my goddess. The Watcher has shown me as much. But it was not until now that I understood how truly desperate she was. The depths of her deception.
You speak of her deceptions, but what of your own? Was it her words that led you down your path? Or was it the absence of her words? A gap that you filled with your own broken thoughts?
Beads of sweat coalesced on Durance's forehead and trickled down the sides of his face in streaming rivulets, as though he were a block of ice standing before a great pyre.
What if you had always been alone, without guidance?
Well, as poorly as I've chosen my guides, I suppose it would be a comfort to know that I'm free of them.
The freedom has always been. It was the guidance that was the illusion. If all our common threads are spun from a lie, what's left to bind us together?
All of us across Aeora are trying to survive, to make sense of the world. What could better bind us together than that struggle? We'll find our own truths. Make them if we must. We don't need an ancient lie to bolster us. United, the Engwithans created gods. Mortal men and women coming together to do the impossible. Let us surpass them.
What if even mastery over all things cannot answer the most basic of questions?
I stopped asking those questions long ago. It is enough to care for those we love with the time we have in this life.
You feel the weight of Eovora's translucent eyes upon your soul. What if we can be assured of nothing? Then the only value is in the things we create ourselves? No. I guess this is the only answer I can agree with. That the only value is in the things we create ourselves.
Verus, we find purpose in ourselves and in the people in our lives.
There is bliss to be found in the things we create, but sorrow as well. Every creation bears the imperfections of its creator, and its creator's creator. Art and song are creations, but so are weapons and lies. We must be careful that our creations do not consume us. I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple, but somewhere between them all lies a truth so beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance to find our part in it?
We do, even without assurances there is still truth.
If that is truly what you believe, then you are a far different person than the one I knew. I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace with my failures and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. But there is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. One thing that will not be put to rest until I know. Until I understand.
For the first time, hints of doubt trace her serene visage.
I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
As she asks, the memory springs to your mind immediately, as though it had just happened. I was afraid of what Theos might do to me if I didn't agree to do it.
Woodica gifted him a great many things, but his ability to manipulate was always his own. Good. Good. The things I taught, the things I believed, I needed to hear that. I needed to know it wasn't because...
Because what? I needed to know it wasn't because after everything you learned, you'd still rather believe in a lie. If that is the conclusion people reach once they know everything, then my purpose has been a mistake. That seems a harsh connection to draw.
Of all that I loved you for, it was your righteousness most of all. You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who?
You're never going to be able to convince everyone of anything, true or not. There will always be dissent.
I expected dissent, but I needed to know that true faith would prevail. Perhaps I've been wrong to place so much importance on one person's actions. It was all I could do to feel like there was an answer. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know, nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. I will have only my guesses and suspicions, and that will have to do. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
I see the world differently now than I once did. I regret what I did to you and wish your forgiveness.
I have always forgiven you. Though I didn't know your reason, I knew you. I knew we had had something wonderful once. Looking back at that has helped me through these many years. At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish, but now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not for me, but for him. And it may be that only an answer from the mouth of Theos himself will satisfy your needs.
Steps to the wheel.
Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know.
Are you bound here until the end of time?
In a matter of speaking. This is Braeth Yamen, the the Court of the Penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from this place to the world above. In truth, they receive leniency, but not true mercy. The spite of Woodica is eternal. They linger above, at the site of the old court, and are not permitted to leave the island, forever severed from the cycle. This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition, but time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains. Yet, I feel their presence strongly now, as it was in the beginning. You have brought many of them here. They cry out for the judgment of Theos. You have struck some bargain with the gods, then.
The other gods aid me because they want Theos destroyed. I owe them no debt.
They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, and an ideal on its own is a grotesque and vicious thing. But these souls, these forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. They were loyal followers in life. They will be with you to the very end.
Why don't you repent? You could be free of this place.
Last time someone asked me that, I was bound to an iron wheel with a broken spine. There are many things I've come to doubt about the choices I made in life, but that trial was my one moment of certainty. Even without a chorus of gods to tell me I had been right, the gods need to be reminded that we have a spirit, and that spirit is proof against their power. They have the power to manipulate and confuse and ruin us, but not to change our will. I will remain here until the world crumbles and fades from existence, with joy in my heart, knowing I've shown them what they truly are.
This place, Sun and Shadow, what is it? I could tell you what I believe, but again, it would be no proof. I have only what I have seen and what others have told me about it. There is only one man who can tell you now, who knows it to a certainty, and you shall face him soon enough. I will leave you to see it for yourself, make your own judgments. Better for your soul that way, I think. How is it you speak, Adrian? I speak no language now but the wordless expressions of the spirit. It is through my connection to you that I am able to draw upon your words and form them as my own. Do you know what it is I need from Theos?
I could not say for sure, but you have been to Sun and Shadow before, and it came at a crossroads in your life, when much of what you knew had been upended. I have to believe it will come to you there. Your concerns then were of loyalty and trust and the gods. Everything I told you seemed to send you further into doubt. His words mattered to you when you knew him then. After you and I spoke, you went immediately to seek him out. Perhaps you simply sought confirmation from the man you trusted. If something from that time still troubles you, it may be something he told you then, or refused to tell you. He keeps secrets better than any in this world.
Why has Theos done all this?
He cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. He destroys anyone who might discover it, no matter their chances. That's why he's always favored Woodica. It isn't in her love of promises or justice. It's her disregard for the rules. Her willingness to do what is necessary. To Theos, she's not a deity, but an ally with which to conspire. When her power waxes, she does as she pleases with this realm, as well as hers. And she wants that secret guarded as much as he. If Theos succeeds, there will be a shift in the balance of power among the gods. Woodica was vanquished once, when the other gods decided she had gone too far, and her power diminished. With this infusion, there is no telling what she will do. The only certainty is that there will be chaos in their realm, as well as ours.
How can I get Theos to tell me what I need to know?
You will not find a more resolute being on all of Eora. There is no offer you could make, nor spell you could cast, nor pain you could inflict that would make him reveal what he hides. But I see you have become a watcher in this life. Perhaps in defeat, when he can no longer defend himself, you might learn something from him.
It's time for me to go.
Theos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
The gods here given me the souls of their forgiven. If you repent, you could join with them. Help me strike the final blow against Theos. I really don't want her to be stuck here.
If I repent, all I have done has meant nothing.
I see. Then I will waste no time. Farewell, Eovora.
I am grateful you came and found me here, no matter the circumstances. You're not exactly who you once were, I have to remind myself. But seeing you one last time, and remembering what we shared, brief as it was better than anything I dared hope for in this place. If ever we should meet again, in this life or any other, I hope to find you in peace.
Oh, what the heck?
Hey. Damn it! We gotta take better care of Aloth. Hey.
Do you think a single man might change the course of destiny?
I don't believe in destiny. Fate is what you make of it. On our sides, there are people, yourself included, who seem to change the world around them just by passing through it. And then there are those who maneuver and scheme, pulling strings from the shadows, and by that method topple dukes. You can't change what will happen. Why worry about it? I have tried not to. I find it very difficult. Anna's shoulders sag, but I do think I've been going about this wrong. I wanted to bring back an artifact and have it solve all of Rauatai's problems for me. After all we've seen and done, I know I'll have to convince them myself, even if I have to talk their damn ears off. Good on you.
Following your lead, perhaps Eovara did not have the final answer you sought. But still, she revealed much.
The edge of his mouth quirks upward in a faint smile. I stand by what I told her. There is strength in confronting truth and not buckling in the face of it, but some discoveries are so large in scope, shattering in implication. Can anyone survive it? The gods were born out of mortal ideals. Whatever guidance they can provide, we already possessed. A touch of the divine in all of us then? Kana laughs quietly. Then let's press on and prove our worth.
Hey.
This is, well, it's a lot to take in. Doesn't seem real, what the ghost lady said.
What's on your mind?
I'm ready. Need something?
If doubts and curiosity
How may I help?
What's my battle of?
Right.
All right, then.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
Shoot.
I?
Arthek were that. And rock. Leave it to me.
Oh, what the heck?
Hey.
Be cautious. Be constant.
Daybreak. I'm good.
So, it's true. The gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years.
I can't see much, but I hear a noise like a pig choking on wet feed. So, I guess Durance is breathing at least.
Hey.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
Gotta insult Durance like that, huh? Pretty. What a pretty light show.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost.
We light our own path now, Watcher.
Can you do that again? I had something in my eye. I missed most of it.
Oh, god dang it, Adir. Alaf's face is twisted with fury and despair. We've been lied to our whole lives, and many lives before that, and it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place. What difference does it make? People will be what they are whether or not there are gods to believe in.
I'm surprised to hear you say this. It seems that much harm comes from imposing authority where perhaps none is needed. We've seen the atrocities that members of the Leaden Key have committed without even understanding why or for whom they act.
For once, the half-souled elf is right. To live in ignorance is to allow the gods to have their way with us.
The endurance agrees. This is a lot to take in, having these two agree. What a surprise.
I've also been thinking. There won't be much left of Theos by the time you're done with him, if I know how you operate. That will leave the leaden key headless. Perhaps it's best it stays that way.
I agree.
Then let's face Theos. When this is all over, I'll make sure that no one is able to commit his abuses again.
Now what?
Well, doesn't that just beat all? Here I was, wondering all this time whether all these terrible things were people's fault or the gods. Turns out they might be the same thing. Wonder how things would have gone different 15 years ago if the Raid Sarens had been told their god was made in some forge or kiln someplace. Would we still have gone to war?
People were starving, they would have rebelled sooner or later.
I could see the rebellion still happening, but I don't know that they would have invaded.
He looks down at the ground, rubbing his fingers along his side restlessly. When he speaks again, it seems half to himself.
I don't know. When Woden left for war, we, had a fight. As brothers will.
What about?
About him going off to war. He was set on it. But my parents warned him. They said you get a new country with every trip across the border, but your god, you only get the one. Me? I didn't know who was right. All I knew was I didn't want him to go. It's the same for families as it is for gods. You only get the one. I said every vicious thing I could think of, trying to change his mind. He brushed it off. Just got me madder, of course, him being so calm. He said I should come with him, but he'd understand if I didn't want to. I told him he'd better be able to face his god one day and answer for what he'd done. He said he'd keep that in mind. And then, he was gone. By the time I'd cooled off, months had passed. One morning it dawns on me that my brother always knew better than me. If he was so sure of what he was doing, then I should be there with him. I packed my things and was on the road that same morning. Of course, what I didn't know then was he'd already changed his mind. By that time, he was dead on that field.
I don't know which one to pick. Do you think he went to Waidwen because of what you said to him?
Crossed my mind. You live in a place like Gilded Vale. You don't have a whole lot else to do other than think about things you don't want to think about. I hope that wasn't it. I hope he went there because it's what he thought was right. But it seems I'm not meant to know.
So if you left with him, he would have known why he changed his mind.
If I'd have left with him, we'd both be dead, so I don't know why I bother thinking about it. He asked me to trust him the day he left. Said if I went with him, he'd make sure we were on the right path. And he deserved that. He deserved that trust from me. Raid Saris is a long way to walk on your own. I think I'd have liked to have been there with him on that journey. Even knowing how it ended.
Let's be on our way.
Still one more mess we gotta straighten out. Come on then. I still owe you one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Leave it to me!
Of course.
Oh dang. I don't think they feel so good. What the heck? What the heck? I'm going to die.
Stunzenet postulato, bas!
Hey.
The shadows in the cavern suddenly lengthen and swallow you. When your eyes adjust to the darkness, you find yourself in the midst of what must be another vision. You are surrounded by mists. The ground feels springy under your feet. You imagine that as soon as you take a step, the soil behind you will erase all trace of your passage. As if on cue, the mists before you clear just enough for you to take a couple of steps forward. You do, and the fog closes behind you. You continue for several minutes in this manner, one step at a time, never seeing more than the ground in front of you. Eventually, rays of light cut through the haze, and you find yourself facing a canyon wall. Urance's head twitches as though a mosquito had flown into his ear. He swings haphazardly at the air with his staff. Something whizzes past you. Just as you turn, you catch another whir of movement. Out of the mist, it lifts a shape, small and round. You think you see another, and another. They tickle the corners of your vision. You turn back to the canyon wall. The sun shifts along its path, and what looked like a smooth rock face is the hollow of a cave. A figure steps out, its features shifting and changing before your eyes. He who sees and is not seen, save when he chooses, it seems. Kana regards the figure with wary fascination. I thought the god of mysteries my chief enemies at times, but one cannot seek out answers if the questions aren't there. The figure transforms from male to female, from Orlan to Omoa, its bones lengthening and its fur receding into its flesh. The only detail that remains constant is the smooth, eyeless face. The whizzing, rushing shapes from the mist converge on the figure, and as they form a spinning cloud, you realize that they are eyes.
You understand the value of a mystery watcher. A buried scroll, a hidden truth. These are my ways. You unravel a thread, Watcher. One you have lost and discovered over generations. And following it to its end has only brought you back to the beginning.
The eyes track you even as they circle to the god. They circle the god. Have I been here before? Whale giggles, a strangely modulated sound that rises and falls as the god shifts from one form to the next. Your search for answers to your past has led you to another mystery, and one grander still. My goal now is to see to the souls Theos has trapped. Yes, but what would you do with them?
A nebula of souls, blind and brimming with potential. The answer to Woodika's question at the beginning of yours. What would you do with them?
Thunder clouds form overhead, casting shadows of movement across the canyon. According to Hylia, it's possible to restore them to Hollowborn.
A song the world knows and tires of. The droning chorus repeated again and again. Better the improvised melody, the unfolding chant. The listeners sit rapt, and just when they think they have the tune, it changes again. Even the gods require fresh mysteries.
The cloud breaks and the torrent of rain washes Wales' features clean. This blank face molds itself again, taking on the shape of something you've never seen before. Do not consign the souls to the fate of some god's choosing. You have found them, now scattered them across existence. Their destination known to neither god nor mortal. Let them be lost again, new answers to new riddles. Behind him, the sudden downpour has carved new caves into the canyon. What end would that serve?
No end, Watcher. That is the purpose.
But what would happen to the souls?
None know. They could end up anywhere in the realms of gods or mortals, whole or divided. Discovering them again and charting their course through the ether will be a new mystery.
Farewell, Whale.
That is a word for endings, and this is but a crossroads. Even I do not know what you would choose.
Shadows from the new caves melt and spread across the landscape, covering you in darkness. When the light returns, the vision is gone. Now the gods are directly confronting me, huh? Oh, what is this? Let's go back here, see if I missed anything. What the heck?
Careful.
Hey.
Oh, that's a door.
All right, then. I'll see what I can find.
I guess it's time for battle.
Hello.
Are you ready to take the oath to spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen. Loyal to the gods in this. Me to answer to, but you will answer to me as well. Voice.
Same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. They have held off many would-be invaders.
Confession.
I am ready to hear one from you.
Memories of the ancients. Is that Deus? You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Andra and trimmed with copper. At the far end of a great pillar of Adra pierces the floor. A great pillar of Adra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike. Its shimmering texture gives the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Deus, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in check. What is this place?
You're in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
Was Iovara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
That machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
All these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
You're shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions. You have to know everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Theos says nothings. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
With Theos' every word, you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there is no mistaking the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dry blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again. Uh-oh, I lost. Sing, help me. Blackhound, help me.
How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb. Oh, what I talked to was only a memory, I guess. I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
She loved you.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Blind obedience is a lot to ask of someone with a mind of their own.
What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? Or is it, as my agents suggest, that they have no direction of their own? You worshipped Aethys, did you not?
Your spies are good. What gave me away? The cape?
Yet when your god needed you the most, you chose your country.
Adir frowned, irritated.
We were being invaded, not by anyone who was acting like a god.
Then I should think your hometown gave you a hero's welcome when you returned.
Well, they made cake. And I think you can expect folks to get jumpy when the gods aren't there to reassure them. Maybe if they weren't all too busy trying to kill each other.
The gods argue over how best to prevent Kith society from destroying itself. These Disruptions would not be necessary were mortal instinct not so diseased. You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my people. Why?
To Kana.
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we too could create great machines, improve our ships, make an empire as vast and impressive as yours ever was, built upon your secrets.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you?
I know better. The Inquithans were an infallible race. You were never gods. All your petty experiments, your heinous crimes, your glorious achievements. You were just people, and your time came and went. Engwith is a lesson now for those who remain.
You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever comprehend, and so it shall ever be. Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in the end. I have seen to it.
Duran stares at Theros with a beast's snarl. Theos watches him calmly.
You built a weapon that delivered exactly as promised.
I served my goddess as you did yours.
Yet the other builders were slain, 11 of a dozen. Why not you? Were you somehow different? Redeemable in your god's sight?
Whatever desire I had to be redeemed in her eyes was weakness, purged by the Watcher's sight.
Or was it merely that your goddess wanted you dead as well, and your delusions of importance prevented you from seeing the obvious?
A whore's beguiling charms, nothing more. But the spell's broke now, Theos. The trial's over. I know friend from foe, and I've come here now to see a foe repaid.
You were able to destroy a god because another god wished it. Without her hand to guide you, you could not strike at a god any more than you could strike the sky. You are impotent, and not just from the pox. I understand your Duke's bells gave you a mission.
Their orders do not absolve me of my greater responsibility to the safety and well-being of the Republics.
You might want to skip over this one, Theos. Don't want to pick a fight you can't win.
Yet you disobeyed. Something you already have a reputation for. They will know, of course. If it had been for a worthy cause, they might have forgiven you. But I don't see them pursuing animancy after seeing what it's done here. They trusted you, and you disappointed, as you always have. And you will again be disowned.
The parents scold, but the children are safe. Whether animancy research continues in the Republics or not, they will survive. For now, that's enough. In any case, I wouldn't be so smug about my fate, Theos. I imagine Woodica responds to disappointment much more severely than even my dukes.
She takes a long step forward, a sinister smile spreading across her face.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
My name belonged to the gods and my hand to their service. No more.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base concerns of the flesh. You have cast yourself from our ranks.
And I should have done it years before. I'd rather live in uncertainty than servitude.
And that uncertainty would lead you where it leads everyone. To doubt, to emptiness, to the many cruelties inspired by disbelief. You will have to forgive your Grandmaster for remaining skeptical of his initiate's choices. You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next lives.
He directs his gaze at you.
I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
What do you know of our business?
You think your abilities only flow in one direction. That isn't how it works, I'm afraid. Not for me. For all that you saw of my soul in the sanitarium, I saw as much of yours.
Our business will conclude when you have told me all I wish to know.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better for it.
You convinced me once that spreading your false faith would end atrocities, yet here you are committing your own.
The spread of our faith ended many such atrocities. I do what I must to ensure it continues to do so. The heart of this country has skipped a beat, nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Telosus into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
Nothing could justify these atrocities.
That's where you are mistaken. There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes as a sign of their faith. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our God's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
Between them, there were no gods would have achieved the same purpose.
And replaced it with one far worse. Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked, the most tyrannical, they would take that power for themselves. But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from meaninglessness. No endings to bring closure. Only a wheel, turning without mercy, grinding our spirits to dust.
You underestimate people.
For all my years, I have seen exactly what they are capable of. What the apostate asked was beyond any man. All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way.
You are blind to think yours is the only way. You are controlled by your own doubts.
We are all controlled by our own doubts. Better that we should be relieved of them. With your soul and thousands of others, I will see this world purged of its suffering. Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid.
Dales puts his hands out to either side as though welcoming some unseen guest. He shuts his eyes and casts his face skyward. What is happening? Uh-oh. Oh. Am I dead? Wodaka's judge, Wodaka's headsman. Alright, Shing, take that guy out. Oh, they can be made prone. What just happened? is happening? Nice. Oh shoot, I'm dying. How am I dying? I'm dead.
Hey.
Where's the duplicate? Oh, there's the duplicate. Are you kidding me? Why is everyone dying?
I'm ready.
Forgive me, Boudica.
At your feet rests the body of Theos, hollow, with dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an internal burden, now smoothed across his color-drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I would expect a man to reconsider his choices after the first 500 years.
That's the servant down, and the mistress still to go. A good start, worthy of being built upon.
In his own way, Theos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Aeora, protecting them from themselves. A shame his soul won't have a chance to reflect on his errors before it enters the wheel.
Did she say a shame? It should be a pity.
He was good at serving his god, I give him that. He should have picked a better one.
He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
Explored Theos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul, and where in Brackenbury it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it's expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Engwith. As you pass through them, you travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra pillar and the machines that encases it. Thanos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd and at faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, at mothers bouncing infants to quiet them and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back toward the machine, your brows constricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, and all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arced outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into grey heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the Adra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, and look back up to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed, the chamber is still and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down on Thaos' lifeless body. Oh dang, you do not deserve to exist. You sense a listlessness to Theos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you are able to do with it as you please. Oh, I can tear souls apart. You will remember this, Theos. Remember that no man can hide the truth forever, and all you've done was done in futility. Your memory shall be your penance.
To apply the teachings of Durance would more immediately satisfy the cravings in my bones. But this is the stronger lesson, for his soul is already marked by his own hand.
Some acts cannot be forgiven, it seems.
I suppose we'll see if he can rise above that.
You can feel the pull of the intricate Adra capillaries that rise up from the depths below the chamber. Many are bound with the great pillar and would pass to Wodoka, but some are filled with the souls of the dead, bound for somewhere else entirely. And you know these are paths of rebirth. Stretching your presence as far as your spirit will allow, you make contact with one such path, and between it and yourself, you open up what feels like a long tunnel, sheer and undulating like the gullet of some enormous beast. You shift your focus to Theos' soul, clinging weakly to its vanquished shell, and with all your concentration, you wrench it free and set it hurtling through the channel until it passes into the Andra vein and can be felt no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind, a word you spoke when you were one with Theos in an ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine. But now,
Hey.
oh gosh, what is happening? With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You have seen the machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter of influence. It would be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Not yet. You stand once again before the great Ingwithan machine. Speak the command to activate the machine. There is a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the souls will be sent into the Adra vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. Return the souls to the bodies they were intended for. I hope this goes back to the Hollowborn. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking in the immense totality of the tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. Achievement unlocked. Won the game. Congratulations, you have completed the game. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once, and their force is so great that it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction. Ah, so bright.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Terra Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left.
Oh, I
At
did
your
not die.
The souls diverted by Theos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Widewind's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the Year of Helia's Splendor. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Widewind's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the Knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Deerwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine. The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an Animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved Animancy, implicating the Leaden Key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a Leaden Key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the gods' wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that Animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Deerwoodans instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of Leaden Key spies, and that the end of Whitewind's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against Animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenberry Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies. The town of Deerford had seen the last of the cult of Scan. Dark rumors about the town's many curses quickly faded, and travelers soon returned. Abydon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abydon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Aer Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace. The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russet Wood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russet Wood. Releasing Harmka left the Devil of Carrick with a gnawing dissatisfaction that continued to eat at her long after the Watcher confronted Theos. She resumed her search for the men and women who had raised Cold Morn, clinging to the hope that enacting her revenge might one day allow her to feel something. Yet, as she hunted and killed, the futility of her actions grew like a leaden weight in her gut. Her movements grew stiff and sluggish as her zeal deserted her. One day, she found herself surrounded in Maiden Falls. As she tried to fight back against the villagers, she felt her arms stick in their sockets and her legs buckle beneath her. The villagers tore her body apart and shattered its segments while she screamed, feeling none of it. Once Maneha had made peace with her memory, she decided the time had come to face her more recent past. For the first time in decades, she returned home to Rawatai, and she found that it had changed as much as she had. New districts had sprung up along the coast, while others withered into crumbling husks, and the streets had changed their course as surely as rivers. Her parents wept with joy at her return. They still ran the old spice shop, and in its many aromas and flavors, she found memories of the places she'd traveled and the people she'd known. She told her story, bottle by bottle, and began to build a life on the soil she knew best. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. After the death of the Master Below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Ad Nua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Ad Nua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Pallegina had gone against the Duke's Bell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Weidwin's legacy, the Vailian republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Vailian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers. Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like an outsider wherever she went. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God once again. When the dust settled in Sun and Shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ixarchanon, his former master. He saw where the Grand Master had gone wrong and what would be required to undo the harm Theos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Theos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand. Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key. With both their aims fulfilled, Kanarua bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Engwithan people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key, and the group's efforts to erase the Engwithan legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad, so that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Engwithan influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song. With Theos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Theos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. Sagani experienced the 4 months of her journey back to Masuk in vivid colors. She strove to memorize every moment of her final trip through the Deerwood, Erglonfoth, the Vailian republics, and beyond, preparing to tell her village of what she had seen on her long journey. All of Masuk shared in her triumph, and she felt her pride and elation magnified by the joy of her village. Never again did she doubt the value of her sacrifices. After decades as a long hunter, Sagani finally became one of Masuk's most respected elders. She guided her community with wise counsel, and a generation after she finally passed, another huntress journeyed into the world to find her soul. For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
Let's see how fast I can read the credits. Oh shoot, it's really fast. I wonder how fast I can go. Oh, oh my goodness. Oh, that's it, huh? That's a lot of names. Oh, I guess these are the Kickstarter backers. Pillars of Eternity. That is all for this stream. Thank you all for watching.